To celebrate the women of our nation who have made significant strides to pave the way for others in society whose hard work, passion and determination have gone a long way in uplifting and inspiring others. Jacqui Koon of House of Jacqui is the recipient of the Hummingbird Medal Gold received in 2004 for the development of beauty, culture and mass in TNT. Through her work, many women even went on to represent this country internationally at prestigious competitions. Soraya Nanan is an attorney at law and the founder of Widow Support TT. She has also been an inspiration and beacon of strength to many women here in Trinidad and Tobago, offering that much needed hope in times of great loss. We are happy to have them join us. Ladies, welcome and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us, Verna.
Thank you.
Ms. Koon, I'd like to first of all congratulate you on your many achievements, but I'd like to talk a little bit about you defying the odds. Can you share with us stories that would have led to your path in terms of the House of Jacqui and its inception?
I think we need a whole day for this one. But early in life, I went abroad to study art. And I got ill and had to come home. And I got a job at Imperial Stores Limited. That is a real old-time store in San Fernando. And they asked me to do a fashion show. I had no idea what I was going to do. But I'm very brave and I like new challenges. So we decided to do a show. So we got together a group of women. No, we didn't have any guys in the show. A group of women who we found look fashionable and so. And just putting together that show made me realize that there is a need for like a model agency because there was nothing like that in Trinidad to my knowledge. Although living in San Fernando, at that time, we couldn't get as much information. I don't think there was one in North Trinidad either at that time. So that is how we decided to start that. That is 54 years ago, which is a long time ago.
And you've been involved in training models who've taken part in international competitions and that sort of thing. How rewarding was it for you?
Well, great. It's a really, really rewarding. Not so much the international pageants, but just seeing the women develop. Just seeing the young girls who come to me. Actually, I fool them a little bit, because I tell them, yes, it's modeling. But I teach them everything. As long as I see a weakness, we work on it. We do culinary etiquette. I've had psychologists come in, medical doctors. We do a little bit of everything. As long as I see a need, because we want to turn them into what we call the total woman. So they mustn't just look pretty. They must have themselves totally together, emotionally, and education-wise, everything. We try to get the total package out of these young ladies. And that is where I get my satisfaction. Yes, they're going for beauty pageants, and we've worked with Gisela Ron, Denise Richards, all these young ladies. But really, it's the individual young women that I really feel full pride from working with them.
So you mentioned that you got ill, and this led to the House of Jacqui being formed. So it was as though what was a stumbling block, you made it into a stepping stone. And yes. Talking about that, Ms. Nanan, I'd like to also welcome you. And let's talk a little bit about Widow Support TT and what would have led to Widow Support TT being formed.
Formed out of my own life experience. My husband died in 2009. And when he died, I became a solo parent. I had a 1-year-old daughter at the time, and I looked around, just to see if I could find somebody out there who had a similar experience like myself, and unfortunately, there was none. And through, I guess through my work being an attorney, I started talking to people and you started hearing stories from others. And I told myself, sometimes when you share your stories, you unlock someone's prison. And I decided to form this support group. First, it started off as the Lincoln Nanan Foundation, and it was really to assist people who were diagnosed with leukemia to set up a bone marrow transplant bank because of his ethnicity, he wasn't able to get a donor. And but that unfortunately has been shelved for now because the focus really is on widows, because there are so many widows around, not only in Trinidad. When we have on our social pages, we have members from all around the world, and we connect through our grief. Our motto is we heal and grieve together. So through that, we're able to share our stories and we're able to learn from each other. I say there's no right way or wrong way to grieve, and it's okay to not be okay. There's no timeline also, there's no timeline to feel better. You grieve how you want to be. There are women, when I come on your program, I've come on your morning program before, and there are women who would call me like after they hear my story and their husband died like 20 years ago, and they just were like, a pressure cooker waiting to explode. They just wanted to have someone who they heard, who they were able to, who to connect with, and through that they were able just pouring their hearts out to me. Never met me except, of course, see me on TV, but they just wanted to have someone to talk to, and they just cried and cried and cried. And I just listened to them, and I just, told them, just like what you're going through, it sounds so familiar because I had a similar experience as well as them.
Now, Ms. Jacqui, you spoke about psychologists also coming and chatting with your girls. I also understand, Ms. Nanan, that you have grief counseling sessions.
We do. We only started last year. Last year, our theme was coping with loss, and we had two dynamic speakers. One of them was Ms. Ramona Ramkissoon, and the other was Dr. Crystal Jane Verasamy. This year, we had another grief counseling session in August, and the theme of it was You Have the Power to Transform. And we had Dr. Verasamy come again, and we also had a spa day, because I think it's nice for women, especially widows. You're so busy taking care of your kids, and sometimes you forget about yourself. That I wanted them to understand that, it always, to me, healing starts with loving yourself. And we wanted to pamper women that day. So we had volunteers who came free of charge to give assistance. They did their nails, they did their hair, they pampered them, they gave them massages. And on that day, we launched our butterfly. You see me wearing a butterfly brooch. We launched our butterfly that day, our butterfly brooches, because I believe a butterfly is a powerful representation of life. It's all about, to me, it signifies change and hope.
Now, Ms. Jacqui, you spoke a little bit about the total woman. When these young ladies come to you for advice, do you tell them you must win this competition, or is it about making them a better version of themselves?
You have it right. It's just about that. I think I will ask Miss Nanan to come and do something with my girls as well, because everybody goes through a little bit of loss at some point in life. And these girls look at me, I am mama. You see, they look at me like that. So they come to me with their little problems as well. But they come wanting to look pretty. And I try to tell them that you mustn't only look pretty, you must be pretty. Your mind, everything must be pretty. But when we go in for the Queen shows, we make sure that we win. Because I tell them, once you have it right, once you understand what the competition is all about, and you get the points right, we will always win.
Yes. And Ms. Nanan, what are some of the other areas you focus on apart from the grief counseling? I understand that you've put your attorney skills at work as well.
Yeah, actually, yesterday we had our second legal aid clinic, where it was just for women or anybody who are going through any difficulties. A lot of women, I've noticed, a lot of widows, when their husband dies, they usually experience being removed from their homes by their in-laws. And this is something we see a lot of in Trinidad, also around the world. So a lot of women come to us and they come for advice at the legal aid clinic. There was a lady, her husband died 10 years ago, and she was experiencing that similar situation. So she came for advice on that. We also had a meet and greet. This was in December. We had a Christmas potluck where people just brought dishes, anything they cared to make, or they cared to, like punch a creme, anything they cared to drink. And we had just a sit down, talking, laughing. I think sometimes you go through life and you just need time for yourself. Just time to sit with others who are going through your journey. I call it your grief journey. Just to sit down and just share your stories. You cry a little bit, you laugh a little bit, and afterwards you feel like, okay, sometimes as widows we stand out as, we're not the norm. Because to me, widows, we associate with death. And sometimes you feel like, you stand out like a sore thumb. And that's why it's nice to be around people like yourself. You realize, how I feel and who I am. I tell people, use your widowhood as not a stain, but use it as a scar. We have been through, to me, the worst of storms. And I always tell widows, you will come out of it, eventually, accepting what your life is all about and accepting who you are.
Wow. dealing with failure sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes when these young ladies come to you and they're not as successful as they would like to be, what do they ask you and what do you say?
They have improved themselves. That is the most important thing. That I teach them to recognize their strength, their power. Because woman is power. And you have to recognize it and love yourself first. Because I think a lot of the problems we have today in society is because women do not love themselves enough. They don't realize the strength and power of a woman.
Now, we spoke a little bit about some potluck events and some fun events. Talking about fun, Miss Jacqui, I understand that you're also involved in a children's mass band. What would have led to that?
The fashion deals in seasons. And I recognize that between Christmas and Carnival, nobody wants to see a fashion show. So we had to find ways of looking for our dollar. And so we decided to go into Carnival presentation. And now we have a children's Carnival band, and we produce costumes for Antigua, Notting Hill, and the works.
Wow.
So even that has grown. And with it, the models have grown with me, because they come and they help us with the costumes. This year, one of our models designed the band, the children's band, and we were quite successful.
So many hats that you both wear. How do you manage to balance it? Because I know you have a young daughter, you're an attorney, you're so heavily involved in this initiative. Where do you get this balance from and this drive to continue?
Sometimes I wonder where I get the time, but I think the drive is all about, I think when you experience grief, you realize how short life is. And, you know, today when I posted up that I was going to have this interview with you, I said, you know, Michelle Obama said, success is not about the money you make. Success is about the difference you make in persons' lives. And I think that's all what I have experienced, you know, going through my grief. I wouldn't be here for very long. I don't know when my time will come. And while I'm here, I want to make a difference in people's lives. When a woman comes to me and, you know, she's crying and after she speaks to me, she feels better, I think that for me is like, you know, my reward. I don't look for reward in riches, but I look for reward in just helping others. Because when my husband died, actually there was a lady there at his funeral, and she came up to me and her husband died 20 years ago. And she was in the same situation like myself. And just hearing her story, I was able to tell myself if she got through it, she had a 1-year-old daughter at the time. Her daughter is now a teacher. And I told myself, you know what? Her story resonated with me because it told me that if she could go through it, I could get through it. And sometimes you need just somebody who's going through a similar experience to just watch them and say, you know what? She's not, you know, I could see that, you know, she's actually getting through it life. You know, she has a daughter. My daughter is now 12 years. She actually wrote essay last year. So I went through the whole length and breadth in terms of being a single parent, taking her to daycare by herself, taking her to primary school by herself. I went through essay by herself. Now she's in college. So I went through every single stage of her life by myself, and I was able to do it by myself. I think also with the grace of God, God has also been with me. He has been my strength, and I think He has kept me sane. And, you know, because sometimes you do feel depressed. Sometimes you feel like, you know, sometimes the day goes by and you're like, you know, you're wondering where and how am I going to get through the day. But you do get through every day. But like I tell people, take it one day at a time. Don't rush. Don't think about your future. Don't think, but sometimes if I think about what's going to happen to me, if I die, what's going to happen to my daughter, I think that will just be overwhelming. So I tell people, don't think about it. Just take it one day at a time.
When we talk about balance, Miss Jacqui, apart from you being involved in children's mass band, House of Jacqui, I understand that you're also a commentator for fashion. Where do you get the time?
Time management is the key word there. Once you have time management, because you'll always meet challenges, You'll always meet challenges as you go along, but you can always overcome them.
Right. And the advice that you have for the younger ones looking on?
Love themselves. I think that right now, I will tell, especially being celebrating Women's Days internationally, I think women have to learn their own power and their own strength all the time.
Yes.
But we are phenomenal people. Women, let's just look at Miss Nanan here. Look at the kind of strength that you're getting out of her. And we have to learn to pull ourselves together and face challenges. I faced multiple challenges getting into fashion industry when there was no fashion industry. Now look at fashion, look at the industry today. It has grown tremendously. So I did all of those things to put it all together, and now I'm training people to take over from me. Because we have to know, we have to recognize when time is running out. So
Now, Miss Nanan, What is your vision for Widow Support TT? Where would you like to take it?
I would like to take Widow Support TT throughout the Caribbean. I would like it to expand where, you know, everybody could see Widow Support TT as a safe haven where you could come together as women. And, you know, it's not only for, actually over the years, as it has attracted people, not only people who have lost their husbands, but persons who have lost their child, persons who have lost a fiancé, their parent. We have also had people who went through a divorce. You have people who have lost their jobs. So there are many people out there who just connect with us because we talk a lot about, if you look at our posts, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, we talk a lot about loss. And actually this last year at the grief counseling session, there was a woman who attended and she recently suffered, she was engaged and she had a breakup. And it took her to a place where she told me she was literally suicidal. And coming to our grief counseling session, she realized that the worst is over and now it's just up for her. So we want to be an inspiration to women, and not only women, anybody going through grief is also for widowers. And I just think that we need something out there to just latch on to. Somebody out there or a group out there that could say, listen, yes, it's difficult now, but you will get through it. So I'm hoping eventually, you know, we expand to the Caribbean and, you know, just for people to just connect with us eventually. Because like I said, we do have members in the United States and Canada through Instagram and Facebook, and we're hoping that we could connect more with people throughout the Caribbean as well.
Yes. Now, Ms. Jacqui, House of Jacqui is such a strong brand, a very, very powerful brand. You spoke a little bit about retirement. What's your vision for House of Jacqui?
I have recently handed over to my young granddaughter, who's just completed her degree in marketing. So she's ready, because I recognize that I don't know all of the new technology. So she will handle that end of it. I'm training her so that she will even make it bigger and better.
Yes. And your closing comments, what would you like to tell those looking on this International Women's Day? Any message for us?
Women, love yourself. I can't say it often enough. I preach it, I teach it. Love yourself and understand who you are so that you can contribute to the world.
Yes, and your closing comments, Ms. Nanan, what is your message?
Well, on behalf of Widow Support, do you want to wish all our women a happy International Women's Day? And just to hinge off what Ms. Jacqui said, I want women to know their worth, know who you are, and don't let anyone dictate who you are.
Well, congratulations, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us, Verna.
Thank you for joining us as we continue to celebrate our women and highlight their efforts in paving the way for others in society.